最多的时候是1万1。
Welcome to the Wicker's Green Screen Room, I should say, really. We're delighted to be here at Barnes Film Festival. Thank you so much for inviting us. In a second, you're going to meet the director of our 2018 International Annual Funding Award for first-time directors with a great story to tell. Mirror, Mirror on the Wall is just such a story. It's had its world premiere at Vision de Real, a super swanky festival on the shores of Lake Geneva, where it won the Audience Award for Best First Feature. Well, Best Feature, full stop. And this, I believe, is its second showing and the UK premiere. Joining me now from Ingolstadt in Germany is the director, Sascha Schöberl. It's great to meet you, Sascha.
Hello, great to be here. Hey.
Oh, now, so Barnes doesn't know quite what's going to hit it soon. Well, I mean, when they see it, I mean, it's a jaw-dropping film, and I want to know how you found it. How did you find Dr. Han, your protagonist?
So normally, I do a lot of DP work. So I shoot documentaries and also commercials.
DP work, director of photography. So you're like
right.
a cinematographer. Yeah.
And yeah, one day a producer called me and they said they lost their DP on a corporate film, and they asked whether I should want to take over. And it was very short notice. And yeah, I said yes. And so it turned out it's kind of a corporate film about Dr. Han. And and that was the moment when I entered, his universe, where I saw all the statues of him and the pictures of him on the walls, and where I met him, and saw this character really. And yeah, I mean, that was the first time. This is how I found him, and then I knew, okay, I have to dig into this. This is something really interesting to explore.
And what was it about Dr. Han that made you think, hello, apart from being a massive egotist, with his 60-foot statues outside his own front house and these massive tower blocks where he does his cosmetic surgery with, what's the logo over the door? Just remind me. Dr. Han gives you what
God owes you.
Yes, I think that's, yes, it's fascinating, but kind of creepy. I wondered what drove you to tell this story.
Well, I mean, so the initial thing, what I really liked is I like bizarre things, I think, and I'm drawn to this. And he has, this bizarre universe, really. And I enjoyed exploring there. But then I also saw how, besides of this entertaining bizarre part, I also saw how timely it is, what he does. And, he uses social media and to promote his business, and this really drives also these surgeries, performances where the girls sing songs and dance on the operation table. And I think, yes, this was just so timely, bizarre and timely for me, and I think that was really worth telling the story.
And what's behind the title you gave it? I know it's from the children's story, fairy tale, Snow White, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. What does that mean to you?
I think it's this modern phenomena of us really chasing this perfect image of us. We always try to be this perfect looking, successful, amazing person. And yes, and I think it's a very dangerous journey. And I think basically you will never get there. And I think it's a very modern phenomena, and especially with him and also all the women who are involved in this film, you can tell this story about this phenomena. And that's why I think this title was so suiting, really.
Absolutely. And it also speaks to one of the reviewers picked out this line. Modern Times review said that Schöberl has solicited a significant documentary about the ambiguities of self-realization. What do you understand that to mean, and do you agree?
Right. Yeah, no, I very much agree. I think, yeah, so I think when we are in this chase for perfectionism, we try to be someone else, really. We try to be this perfect mirror image. And I think if you come to the healthy conclusion, then you have to come to this realization that you don't get there, and just being yourself is fine. And perfect is the way you are, and nothing else.
So Sascha, I have this theory that you are the only boy in a family with 3 sisters. I would imagine that makes you extremely sensitive around women and your ability to get close with your lens. Am I fantasizing here, or could there be any truth in this?
So yes, so I have a twin sister, and then I have 2 older sisters. They're also twins. And well, yes, I mean, being a brother, yes, I could see what it means a bit, what beauty standards, especially for women, mean, and trying to be someone else to some degree. I learned a lot from that, yeah. But I think I also, learned a lot from just being a brother, because in this film, maybe I filmed with, I don't know how many, I say maybe around 20 or more women. And it's also, to some degree, very intimate situations where they're on the operation table and so on. And I think being a brother, I learned from that, just, being respectful and be caring. And I think that helped in the filmmaking, I think.
Because your lens does get physically really, really close in. And I wondered, because you must have stuck out like a sore thumb in those environments, tall German with his camera in a sea of Chinese women taking selfies of an operation. I mean, I don't want to give too much of the plot away, but there are moments where you're just thinking, oh my, can this really be happening? Will someone make it stop? But it carries on, and yet you seem to get these incredibly intimate moments really close up. Was that the trick?
I think it's a mixture of things, really. I think being honest and being respectful to the people who are being filmed is super important, and respect boundaries. I think that's important, and this is how you get really trust from the people, and then you get the access. But I think it's also a bit of this madness there. I mean, it's women, singing during the surgery. There, I don't know, 25 phones live broadcasting at the same time, and then everybody runs out after the surgery to a mall and goes shopping, and people still with surgery clothes on. It's just overall very high pace and super bizarre. And I think I'm just a little part in this bizarre circle, kind of. So I don't think, I think it wasn't too hard, yeah.
So I've been reading a little bit about Barnes, and wondering if Barnes is ready for this kind of madness, this bizarre madness. I mean, I look to see what social media is talking about in the Barnes area, west of London, and it's majoring on feeding the otters at the wetland centre, the village atmosphere, the beautiful pond with sways of rosebay, willow herb. There's praise for the great jazz at the Bull's Head, and how they're, people are looking forward to lockdown being lifted so they can enjoy that again. The fruit and veg market, the farmers market, the ginger pig butchers. I mean, these are the things that the people of Barnes are are talking about, you know, how ready are they for what they're going to see in this film?
Well, I mean, you know, on first sight, it's a story about a Chinese family, but actually, you know, it is a story about trying to be perfect and what you're willing to do for fame and what you're willing to do being perfect or for a perfect post on Instagram or something. So I think it's a very universal story. And yeah, I think the style, the cinema verite style, needs a bit of commitment from the viewer as well. You know, it's not like a fast-paced watch. You need a commitment as a viewer. But yeah, I mean, we won with the premiere the audience award, and I think that that shows that the story is very strong and also very compelling outside China. And yeah, I think it will work for anyone who is interested.
Because it is a bit the same, isn't it, in the sense of putting on a facade. You know, there's all these beautiful Georgian terraced houses in the center of Barnes, and it's all about putting on that perfect look for the world. So there are huge parallels for all of us there. I wondered what differences you were noticing about the way it's perceived in, say, Eastern facing countries, Pacific Ring countries like China, and in Europe. What key differences have you noticed?
I think for it, well, it's very easy in a way and very understandable. Of for Eastern or for the Chinese audience, I think, you know, they know China, so they're familiar with how China ticks, and so they are very much connected to just the story, and they're familiar with the environment. Where for Western audience, they also might see China for the first time, and that puts in another layer as well of, you know, seeing the backdrop of what's happening in China.
The other fairy tales that I was thinking of just when you were speaking there is Beauty and the Beast, because in a way, Dr. Han is a bit of a beast. He comes across initially as a monster, and then you start to see a little bit of beauty behind him as you start to understand how he came to be the way he is as he interacts with the three key women in his life, his American assistant Holly, his daughter Rachel, and his mother, who is a bit of a dragon herself. And without giving too much of that backstory away, but then you do start to become almost sympathetic with him as he struggles to try and reconnect with his 17-year-old daughter. And I wondered if he's seen it yet, and what did he think of himself on screen?
Yeah, no, he saw it, yes, and so I think he really likes the film, and he watched it with his family and probably several times, and I think they were all very moved. And
Really?
yeah, and I think he's grateful for this, after all these years of commitment from me to this project. He's very grateful to see also his own change during that time. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Having spent so long with Dr. Han, I was wondering how nerve-wracking it was, how self-conscious you felt spending so much time with a man who sees everyone in terms of their physical imperfections.
I feel comfortable. I mean, I think
You didn't get any cheap surgery, did you? You didn't make any little offers? Brought you out?
No, I think, no, if anything, if it's just funny if he does some comments on your growing beer belly or something. I think then no, but I didn't get self-conscious at all. No, it was a good process. I think it was the more nerve-wracking part of it was more that he's a bit of a jumpy character. Sure. And he changes his mind a lot. So at some point, I know we've shot in Sanya, a surgery performance, and then there's supposed to be the next one right after, but it wasn't sure which city. So it came to that point that I rushed to the airport, and we had 2 tickets, you know, going to different cities, because he changed his mind all the time.
This experience of being a first-time film director and being in this strange media whirlwind, has it put you off, or are you ready plotting your next documentary, your follow-up?
Well, the thing is, if I find something and I'm really into it, I just can't stop. Then I have to do it, even though I know, oh God, this will be such a painful, long journey. But then I have to do it. And yes, no, there's one boiling, one more project.
Go
Yeah,
on, give us the hint.
It's a very similar in a way to Mirror on the Wall, but I guess a bit more bizarre, and it goes more deep into your mind. But yeah, I cannot say too much yet. Certain things have to happen, and then we'll see.
In England, we have a game, I Spy, where you I spy with my little eye, and you get points for spotting things in the world. And I wondered, this is putting you on the spot a bit, whether there are things that you know were really difficult shots to get, or you have favorite walk-on characters, or things that you notice as the director, as the mind behind this creative endeavor, that the audience watching it for the first time can look out for?
Well, I think so. For this one, it was super important for me that I always get the real moments. So yes, there are no second takes, and that's, I mean, I think you can see it in the film. You know, this authenticity is something very, very beautiful, and it's just also a cinema verite documentary needs that. And yeah, but the challenging part was if you miss the moment, you know, you miss the moment, and that's pretty much it, really.
So what's the key moment that people mustn't miss? Got to be attentive for.
Well, I guess there are moments, I think, of Dr. Han's look when on his first surgery performance, where it doesn't quite go the way he wanted it to be. Or, I mean, I think it's also interesting, the looks of the women seeing the new changes for the first time. I think those are beautiful, authentic moments.
Yes, there's one look of real fear in his eyes when you can see he's thinking, this is now getting out of control. How do I solve this one? And there's this wonderfully awkward scene in a lift, which I think just speaks volumes. Nobody's talking to each other, but it says so much. And there's also, there's quite a lot of interesting animal life. There's a fluffy cat to look out for. There are several fish that have enormous metaphorical significance in their big tanks, and it's full of treats and surprises. Sascha, thank you so much for joining us for the Barnes Film Festival. Before you go, just tell me what's happening to the film next after Barnes.
I'm not. So we have several festivals lined up, but honestly, I'm not quite. I kind of lost track, and I don't know which one's next.
Been on the well, I think it's also showing at Sheffield Documentary Festival, but only if you have a special industry pass. So if you're already a TV executive or similar, but it's going to go on to channels as well, isn't it? It's going to go on to the Point of View channels internationally.
Right. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not up to date with the current sales. So I know there's like this Chicago International Film Festival. Then there's one in Russia, I think, and then there are several festivals in Germany kind of competing for it right now. So I don't know what to say.
So you can just say it's doing really, really well, and we in Britain are lucky to see it before the Americans and the Russians.
Well, thank you for having me. It was awesome.